Stop listening. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to have a little conversation here about foreclosure. So I'm going to make this short so that you can go back and listen to it so you can follow the steps. If you're facing foreclosure, you're going to wait until about the 15th day or between the 15th and 30th day of the notification notifying you that you're about to be in default or that you is in default and we going to foreclose on you in 45 days. And you're going to contact them within that 15 to 30th day and say, hey, you're supposed to be offering me a loan modification. I didn't get your offer for a loan modification. The Graham Leach Bailey Act says that you're supposed to be giving me that opportunity. So I want a loan modification. They'll say you don't qualify. Oh, really? I don't qualify? Okay, well, thank you for your opinion. Now I'm going to appeal that decision. So I need you to escalate this because I'm appealing your decision. Well, you got to do that in writing. Oh, I did. When I originally wrote you guys, I sent you a notification before calling you. I sent that a week ago. But we ain't received a copy. Give me your fax number or give me your email. There's a copy right there. Now, um, I'm going to escalate. Oh, that's right. You got to now make a decision based upon my putting it in writing. And they will go ahead and deny you or approve you for loan modification. But hold on. During the course of loan modification, that operates as an automatic stay. They cannot proceed with the foreclosure until they deny you. That's why many of them will deny you pretty lickety, slickety, quickly. But don't worry about that. That's par for the course. They're going to deny you. You're not going to go through with the loan modification. You don't want to go through with the loan modification. That's not your aim. So stop worrying about all of that. Stop being a naysayer and just listen. Sorry about that to those of you who know how to listen. Ladies and gentlemen, after you ask for the loan modification and they deny you, you're going to sit up there and you're going to send them a letter. Hey, you guys claim to be the lender. I was looking at the Federal Reserve Act and I was looking at our agreement and I realized that you're my agent. Y'all not the lender. Look here, operating circular number 10, section 12.3 says you are my agent. And don't tell me I'm not the banking institution applying for the loan because the Federal Reserve Act says you're wrong and Congress says you're wrong. So I ain't even going to entertain that stupid argument. You bring me something, facts and conclusions of law. I don't want to deal with presumption. So y'all need to provide proof that y'all the lender. They're not going to provide the proof, but you ask the question. That's the whole point. Then you're going to file for bankruptcy, but bankruptcy goes on my credit. You ignorant mother. Your credit's already up because they just reported a default. So stop worrying about bankruptcy going on your stupid credit. That is the dumbest argument I hear people come up with every single time. You're in default. Your credit's already up. I apologize. This is what I deal with, ladies and gentlemen, all the time. People are worried about their credit instead of saving their home. Now, for those of you who understand how this works, let's talk to you. Bankruptcy can't go on your credit. The Fair Credit Reporting Act requires all debts to be verified and validated. So in order for them to validate and verify that you owe someone a debt, such as bankruptcy is not public record. They try to tell you that because they're using a presumption. Yes, the fact that bankruptcy was filed is a public record, but they have no evidence, verifiable evidence, that it was you who filed it. Because the bankruptcy court is prohibited by law from giving your social security number, your birth date. Pay attention. They can't give your social security number, your birth date, and your address, identifying information to identify you so that somebody can commit fraud against you. That's the Privacy Act. They can't violate that. You'll see it on their website. Just type in bankruptcy court does not report to the credit agencies. So that's how you get it taken off, because you then get ChatGPT to produce a letter stating that fact and asking it to provide you facts and conclusion of law and binding Supreme Court case precedent to prove this. And now you can charge them for not removing that off of your credit. Go ahead and look up the laws for it. Well, anywho, you're going to file bankruptcy. You're not going to file bankruptcy immediately. You're not going to file bankruptcy at the 30-day mark. You're going to file bankruptcy a week before the sale because they're going to claim they're going to sell your property. You just bought yourself 4 months. You got the 45 days. Okay, that's a month and a half. Then they're going to sell your property. So that's going to take another 2.5 weeks to a month and a half. So you bought yourself 4 months. Now, hold on now. You're going to file bankruptcy. Well, which bankruptcy should I file? You can file 7 or 13. You don't have to file 11. We don't have to do the 11 thing anymore. Now, remember, when you file bankruptcy, you already have this paperwork ready. You got to take the counseling course. Look it up. Got to take the counseling course for bankruptcy. Within 6 months of filing a bankruptcy, you have to take the counseling course. Okay? So you take the counseling course. You can do a fee waiver on that. You got to ask for it. Now, to take the counseling course, the paperwork you're going to have prepared for bankruptcy is notification of exempt properties. Look it up. Have ChatGPT produce it for you. Okay? Exempt property. House, if you have 2 adults in your home, they each have a right to a car. So you can save 2 cars if you got 2 adults, husband and wife. You don't file bankruptcy as a group. You file it individually. Pay attention. You don't file it as husband and wife, mother and son, daughter and sister. No, you file it individually. Pay attention. There's a reason for that. I'm about to tell it to you, so pay attention. And after you file bankruptcy, that's an automatic stay. Nobody can do anything about that. But you have to put the notification of exempt properties on the record with the bankruptcy. Now, while you're doing that, you're going to look up adversarial proceeding. This is a notice of removal because you're going to ask for and you're going to file your adversarial proceeding challenging their standing as creditor. You're going to challenge their standing as creditor in the creditors meeting. You're going to fill out all the schedules. You're going to do everything they require of you. Okay, if you cannot afford bankruptcy, go to the district court's website, get a fee waiver from the district court website, file that on the record, tell the bankruptcy court that they don't have jurisdiction to determine whether or not you get a fee waiver because that's the district court. And under the rules for bankruptcy, the district court is the court of original jurisdiction. So they must make the determination as to whether or not you get a fee waiver since they're the ones who referred the bankruptcy to the bankruptcy court in the first place. Ta-da. Don't worry about it. Fight. Don't just give up. Fight. Now, after you file your paperwork and after you put in your notification of exempt property and after you put in your adversarial proceeding demanding a trial by jury, bringing up the fact they're not the creditor, putting in the federal operating circular, and putting in the, pay attention, borrower in custody agreement information. Done too many videos on it. All right. Then you're going to bring up your request for a trial by jury under the 7th Amendment to the Constitution because your right to property is at stake and that the contract that they placed on the record is just a copy. Not allowed to put a copy on the record. They put a copy on the record in the state court and they put a copy on the record in the bankruptcy court saying that that's evidence and proof that there's an outstanding debt. No, it isn't. That's evidence and proof of a prior contract. That's not evidence and proof of a current agreement. And there must be a comprehensive accounting. Sorry about that. I was drinking some agua. There must be a comprehensive accounting. Now, you have to put your statement of accounting on the record. That's all. Now, here's you need to understand this. When you gave them your promissory note, it was a promissory note. Pay attention. When you gave it to them, it was a promissory note. However, at closing, you converted the promissory note into a security known as a collateral security. That's under 12 USC 412. That collateral security, as evidenced by the Federal Reserve Act, Title 4, Section 403, subsection 18, paragraph 6, and Section 403, paragraph O, or Title, what is it? That one is Hmm. That one is 13. Title 13 under the Federal Reserve Act, Title 13, Section 13. Okay? That lets you know that your promissory note was pledged collateral. All right? And so because you gave them a pledged collateral, that constituted an adhesion contract because it now was a negotiable promissory note. A negotiable promissory note is under Article 3. A promissory note is under Article 9 of the Uniform Commercial Code. Your state adopted the Uniform Commercial Code. Remember, if you use the Uniform Commercial Code, you always want to incorporate by reference the state adopted version. That's all you have to say. You don't need to know the state version. It's almost word for word. You want to incorporate by reference the state adopted version. Now, by the way, the state doesn't have the authority to adopt a version of any code. Why? Because the legislative process says all laws must go through Congress. The Uniform Commercial Code and its adoption did not go through Congress, only the adoption did. That's not law. Shh, don't tell nobody. That's not your argument. Now that you have these, you can bring up whatever other aspect you want to bring up. But remember, there was an adhesion contract. It was converted to a security. The collateral was pledged by you. You are the pledger of the collateral. The bank cannot deny that. So that's why you're going to do interrogatories on this. And you're going to do discovery and you're going to get subpoenas on this. Now, this is research you're going to have to do. All right? But you're going to have to do it. So get prepared. Be ready. Now, I want you to understand, you're going to learn the law. You're going to learn something. Okay. Now that you have your adversarial proceeding document, you've added all your points that you want to bring out. Make sure that these are facts and conclusions of law and not stuff you're getting from some stupid YouTube videos, including these. You file your adversarial proceeding, you ask for a trial by jury, you bring up constitutional issues only. Why? Because the bankruptcy court cannot hear constitutional issues. That goes to the district court. That will take you about 6 to 8 months for that process to go through. I would rather you file Chapter 7 and not Chapter 13. And the reason why I'd rather you file Chapter 7 and not 13, you got to spend money out of your pocket. Chapter 7 is just a straight Chapter 7 with you exempting. It's called notification of exempt property. You put that as an affidavit on the record. You include all of this information and document it as your primary residence. And that's your primary shelter. And that the Bankruptcy Act does not permit you to be homeless in order to satisfy a debt. That without a home, without shelter, they'll be violating the law. And without transportation to get to and from work, they would be violating the law. Put that in that affidavit and put it on the record. Now, hold on now. Stay with me. Adversarial proceeding, bankruptcy. You don't have to argue with this stupid judge. And I did say stupid judge because they are aware of this as well. That's your 6 to 8 months. Now the sale has been stopped. Ladies and gentlemen, they got to do that 45-day thing all over again. All right, let's say they dismiss your bankruptcy. You're still going to appeal that. But they say then you're going to do a fee waiver with the district court. It goes to the district court. You want to put in a notification. Absolutely no BAP, bankruptcy appellate panel, and absolutely no magistrate. You can do that all on one filing, but make sure it's absolute. Okay? Then the other person who lives in your household, they file bankruptcy and they do the exact same thing. 6 to 8 months later, then you file bankruptcy and you do the exact same thing. 6 to 8 months later, then they file bankruptcy and you do the exact same thing. It's not illegal. It's not illegal. They can't say that you are violating or abusing the system. It's not illegal. And if you got 4 people in your house, then y'all can do this until it freezes over. And all you got to do is pay the filing fees, and that's your rent. That's your mortgage. Now, this is only temporary, but you can just keep that perpetual routine going because that's what the attorneys do for you. When you hire an attorney, that's all they're doing is the paperwork to just keep the system rolling in bureaucracy. It's just paperwork. And there's nothing the judge can do about it. They can't summarily dismiss or immediately dismiss. Why? Because you're going to follow all the rules. Ta-da! Now I'm gonna end this right now. Y'all just got to go back and listen, pay attention, and hey, there's more to it, but this is the basics. Have a good day.